and welcome to another episode of Chasing Mysteries Gardens. I'm Rebecca, and along with my wife Karen, we are on a mission to renovate and rejuvenate our little piece of earth. Last weekend, we went to the farmer's market. I was just in the mood for all things fall, and it was a beautiful, crisp day, and I found a vendor who was selling apples, and they sold me a half bushel of the most beautiful, I believe these are Cortland and Empire. Now I can't remember, but I know Cortland for sure. We are going to turn these into applesauce. I love fresh applesauce. It tastes nothing like the store. It is so much better. I add spices and just a little bit of sugar to add to the sweetness. So today we are going to make and can applesauce. Also, with the scraps of the apples, we're also going to make some apple scrap vinegar. And I have never done that before, so it's going to be an adventure to see what happens. So I hope that you will join me in my garage kitchen today as we make applesauce. Let's get started. Look at these. Oops, that one's got a boo-boo. At these beautiful apples. They're so big. They're so delicious. So this is ingredient number 1. Our other tools are an apple corer. This is my electric water bath canner, and I will show you how to use that. A food mill. My trusty favorite Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving has the recipe. I'm going to cook the apples in my pressure cooker. We have some sugar. If you haven't ever tried this sugar, it's pretty new on the market as far as I know. It's golden sugar. It's less processed. It tastes just like regular white sugar, but it's just got a little bit of a golden hue to it because it's not as processed. We have my spices, which include cardamom, cinnamon, and cloves. Actually, this cinnamon is not Vietnamese cinnamon, it's Saigon cinnamon, and I buy this in bulk and just reuse this bottle. This is the secret ingredient. You want to get the best quality cinnamon that you can. It will make everything taste better. Measuring tools, a knife, a towel. We have our lemon juice, our canning tools here, and then our jars. For this recipe, we want about 12 pounds of apples. So I used my scale and measured out 12 pounds, and that is what I have here. In this box. Now we are going to work to peel and core these apples. So this is the apple peeler. It is called Peel Away. We've had it for quite a while. It works with a suction cup on the bottom, so when you put it on your table and then just push the bar over, it is stuck to the table. So it has an arm here. This is the actual peeling part. It's a little sharp here, and it runs against the apple. And then this is where you turn. So this bar, if you push back, you can pull the arm back. And actually, I just realized I'm missing the little teeth, so let me go get those. So I found the teeth. So this just gets screwed on like such. Pull that back. Let me attach it to the table. And then you don't need to take the stem or anything off. I would take leaves and things like that off, but you just attach it like that. Whoops. Get some of this out of the way. And then you just spin. So it pushes the apple all the way through. Oh, and it broke off a bunch of the end. And you're left with nice peeled apples like such. It's okay if there's a little skin. We're gonna run these through a food mill, so it's not a big deal. And then I just cut them in half before putting in the pot so that they cook down a little faster. Then what you're left with are the peels. As well as the core. And this is what we're going to use to make our apple scrap vinegar. And I've done one apple and there's already bees flying around me. So this should be fun. So I'm going to actually turn this so that it's easier for me to use now that you've seen how it works. Well, it's not wanting to stay on my table because the table's plastic. It works better if it's a harder surface like a kitchen counter. Oh my gosh. This apple is tart, but it's delicious, and it will make wonderful applesauce. Sometimes the faster you go, the easier it is. See, sometimes the core doesn't match up with the hole and you're left with a little bit of the inside. All you have to do is just cut that away. Again, not a huge deal because it is going through a food mill. All right, so we're going to continue and do all these apples. this is what 12-ish pounds of apples looks like. I did use a few more apples that were in the bushel because I realized that I did the weight prior to coring and peeling them, so that subtracted some of the weight. So I just added a few more in there. We are going to cook these down in the grill. I've added about a cup of water just so that these don't scorch, and then I'm going to add the lid so that we keep out the bees, because it's applesauce, not bee sauce. While the apples are cooking over on the stove, which we will watch and give them a stir every now and then just to make sure that they don't scorch or burn, I'm going to show you how to make apple scrap vinegar. This is super simple. I've actually never done it before. I'm assuming it's super simple, but we are going to give it a try. We don't really use that much apple cider or apple vinegar in our house. You can use it for cleaning. You can use it in vinaigrettes and salad dressings, and I'm sure that there are many more uses for it. There is a recipe that I like to make that does call for it. What you can't do with this is can with this, because the acidity is not high enough at the end of the day for canning. So distilled white vinegar has been distilled to bring it up to the proper acidity. And unless you know how to do that, this will not be that. So only use this in cleaning and cooking in your home. So first we're going to take some of these scraps, and this is just a clean quart-size jar, and you can do this in gallon size. You can do this as big or as little as you want to. This is the biggest jar that I had available, so this is what I'm going to use. So I want to try to not get any super spoiled sections. I'm actually only going to use the peels. No, I'll use it all. Some bits of apple. There's a nice core. There's another nice core. Another nice core. So you want to cram this down as much as you can until you get about 3/4 of the way full. Let's do another core. Another apple slice. And that should be good. So this is 3/4 filled. So now that you have it, there's a bee in my jar. Okay. You want to add in 4 tablespoons of sugar. Then you want to cover the whole thing with non-chlorinated water. So we have city water, therefore it's chlorinated. So I use distilled water anytime that I'm cooking for canning. Kind of push it down, make sure the water gets all in there. So there are natural bacteria on every food that we eat. It's on the skin. So this works because that bacteria will ferment in here and eat the sugars to create alcohol, and then it'll keep eating it and turn that alcohol into vinegar. So there we go. Now you want to make sure that everything stays submerged. So I'm going to use one of my fermentation weights. You don't have to use this. If you feel like everything is pretty much under the water, then go ahead. If you have another kind of tool, go ahead and use that. Oh, I have just too much. Okay, not going to be able to jiggle that. So you just want to make sure everything stays under the water. You want air to be able to get into this. It's not like a fermentation where you want the air to get out but no air to get in. You want the air to get in and out. So we are just going to cover this with a coffee filter. You can use a towel. You can use a paper towel. Anything that is porous and will allow air through. And we're going to use a rubber band. Put that around the edge. And then you want to store this in a cool, dark location for 4 to 6 weeks. You can check it every so often, stir it around, make sure that there's no mold on it. If there is mold, you can just pick that off. Shouldn't be a big deal. And then you can start tasting it to see if it's to your liking. As soon as it's done, then you just put a lid on it and you can use it however you want, except canning. Easy peasy. Apple squeezy. When I cut these apples, I only cut them in half because when we come in here to stir, I use my wooden spoon and just break it up into bits. Just checking the bottom to make sure it's not burning. Oh, it's already, I don't know if you can see down there, it's already starting to be apple juice. While the applesauce is cooking, the UPS driver just brought me a present. Yay! I ordered these the other day and they are stuck together. Ew, those got wet. So there's a couple that are stuck together because these are little envelopes that I'm going to actually use for seed saving. So there's 100 of them. I'm not going to need 100 of them, so it's okay that a couple are stuck together. So very excited to start saving some seeds. This is a food mill. It's just a pot with holes on the bottom. It's got 2 hooks to hook onto the side of your pan, and then a blade inside here that will mush any food that you have in here against the bottom of the holes so it will come through the bottom. This will help take out any remaining seeds or any remaining skins that we might have in the applesauce. This is just to get it a smooth consistency. If you prefer your applesauce chunky, you can skip this step. It is a little time consuming. You could put it in a blender or anything with a blade that will smooth it all down for you. So down in here, you have the applesauce. I'm getting it all over the table. This is going to take forever. Once everything has been pushed through, you kind of scrape the bottom. Actually, this is mostly just the skins and seeds. I'm not getting much on the bottom anymore. So you just scrape that, and then all of this is just your skins and seeds. Now we want to put all of this back into this pot. Before we put this back on the fire to heat up again, I'm going to add our other ingredients. So to this we need to add 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, I know it seems weird to add lemon juice to applesauce, but the lemon juice is what raises the acidity of the apples so that it makes it safe for water bath canning. Now I'm going to add 1 cup at a time of our sugar because I don't want it to be too sweet. It calls for 3 cups, but we're going to do 1 cup at a time. I forgot my tasting spoon. That's really good. This is also where I add my spices. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Saigon cinnamon. You do not need a lot of this, and you can always add more when you're eating it. I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of cardamom. And 1/8 of a teaspoon of cloves. Now we just mix this up and we will put it back on the fire. And now to can. So you want to fill each jar and leave a 1/2 inch headspace. I just poke my tool in to make sure that there's no air bubbles. So all of our jars are in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pints. So we will put the lid on here and then turn this all the way up to canning and just wait for it to boil. Something I forgot to show you is this lid. So it's supposed to sit on top of your cans. If your cans are heavy enough, if your jars are heavy enough, then you don't need to worry about it. It's not like they're going to float to the top. But it will, once it starts bubbling, move things around a little bit, and this will just help keep it submerged. So that batch got us 10 pints to put into our canner. It also got one very full pint that we will put into the refrigerator. My canner only fits 10. So, and then I also got one big ladle spoon to eat right now. That's so good. You will not regret this. Making it from scratch. Now that this has come to a roiling boil, we will set our timer for 20 minutes. This has been 20 minutes. We're going to turn this off. We're going to take off the lid and let it sit for 5 more minutes. There you have it. 10 beautiful jars of canned homemade applesauce. I love to eat this applesauce on pork chops. Tell me your favorite way to eat applesauce by dropping it in the comments below. If you like this episode, please hit this like button, and also don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more. Also, it would help if you would share this video with all of your friends and let them know how they can make their very own homemade applesauce. As always, Suki Suki. Love the earth, love yourself, love each other. Till next time.